Welcome back to the Nepali Diaspora Network podcast. We're your source for news and insights for Nepalese worldwide. This week, we're doing a deep dive, sifting through the aftermath of what was, well, a truly chaotic and transformative period in Nepal.
Yeah, absolutely. A week that seems to have violently hit the political reset button. Now the monumental cleanup really begins.
It does. So our mission today.
Look, we need to go beyond just the headlines, use the Nepali Diaspora Digest to really distill the critical updates, understand what this huge shift means for stability, for recovery, and especially what it means for Nepalese living abroad.
Right. And the central theme seems pretty clear.
It is. You've got this brand new technocratic interim government, and they're facing, frankly, an emergency to-do list, balancing, profound political recovery with these massive security and structural crises. It's a huge challenge.
And this new government. It's quite something. A historic intervention, really.
Yeah.
After that political vacuum, leadership went to former Chief Justice Sushila Kararki, Nepal's first female prime minister.
Mm-hmm. And this wasn't your typical political shuffle. It feels more like a deliberate handoff to, well, proven competence.
Exactly. Competence seems to be the key word.
It really is. I mean, this cabinet looks like it was specifically engineered almost as a direct response to the demands from protesters. They wanted integrity, they wanted experience, not the same old faces.
So who are the key players then?
Well, take the new finance minister, Rameshore Khanal, former finance secretary, 30 years of experience. But his first move, pure, almost theatrical austerity.
What did he do?
Announced he wouldn't take a salary, no official residence, no car.
Wow. That's a powerful statement, isn't it? But, I mean, does refusing a salary, does that symbolic gesture actually lead to the kind of deep change people are demanding?
Well, right now, I think it's crucial because it signals trust. You have to understand the public is deeply, deeply cynical about corruption after everything.
Okay.
So by refusing those perks, Khanal immediately creates some distance politically from the perceived greed of, the previous regime. It builds a little bit of goodwill.
I see. And who else is in this technocratic lineup?
Then you've got Kulman Gising. He's handling energy and infrastructure, hugely critical portfolios right now, and his popularity. It's almost legendary in Nepal.
Tell me more about him. I know the name is really celebrated, but what exactly did he achieve that makes people trust him so much for this kind of role?
Okay, so during his previous time leading the Nepal Electricity Authority, Nepal had chronic power cuts. I mean, 18 hours a day, countrywide load shedding. It was crippling.
Right. I remember hearing about that.
Gising basically ended it. He just kept the lights on. So if you need someone who can demonstrably fix a broken system, like right now, he's your guy.
Makes sense. A problem solver.
Exactly. Then there's Om Prakash Aryal, the new Minister for Home Affairs and Law. He's a prominent anti-corruption advocate known for these legal battles, one of which actually led to the impeachment of a former anti-graft chief.
So real credentials there, too.
Definitely. And we absolutely have to mention senior advocate Savita Bandari Baral. She's become Nepal's first female attorney general, another landmark appointment.
So the theme is immediate, decisive action. It seems like that's the playbook.
It looks like it. Finance Minister Khanal certainly wasn't wasting any time with that austerity plan. Formed a task force straight away.
Do what exactly?
To cut over 1,300 redundant projects.
Yeah.
And redirect nearly 100 billion rupees.
100 billion. That's a huge amount. Where's it going?
The primary goal, they say, is to fund the upcoming election. It's scheduled for March 5th, 2026. And crucially, to do it without foreign assistance.
Ah, okay. That's a big point, isn't it? National pride, sovereignty.
A massive point. Meanwhile, on the sort of humanitarian side, Home Minister Aryal's first official act was declaring the 74 people who died in the unrest as martyrs and providing financial relief to their families.
That seems essential. Addressing the immediate grief and providing some recognition.
It is. It's about healing, acknowledging the cost.
But stepping back, this new team, they must be facing serious political headwinds, right? It can't be smooth sailing.
Oh, absolutely not. The political friction is very much alive and kicking. You've got the Gen Z movement. That's the sort of umbrella term for the student and professional groups, mostly organized online, who were key in pushing for this change.
Right. They help propel Karki to power.
Exactly. But they're already voicing dissatisfaction with some of the minister choices. They want more. faster. They're demanding immediate reforms, like arresting former officials, amending the Constitution for a directly elected PM.
So pressure from the movement that supported the change.
And then from the other side, you have the major political parties that were sidelined. They're denouncing the whole thing, the dissolution of parliament, calling it undemocratic, unconstitutional. They want parliament restored immediately.
So Karki's walking a tightrope.
A perilously narrow one. She's got basically 6 months. 6 months to rebuild, stabilize, and hold elections, all while managing dissent from, well, pretty much every direction. It's an incredibly tough spot.
And that political tightrope, it just gets exponentially more complicated when you factor in the sheer scale of the breakdown in, basic civil order.
Yeah.
We see the political will, maybe, but how does any cabinet govern when the fundamental infrastructure, courts, police, prisons, has been physically, neutralized?
That's the absolute critical point, isn't it? It's often missing from the surface reports. This security crisis, it's a systemic failure. It threatens the very legitimacy of the rule of law. Let's just start with the prisons.
Okay.
Inmates escape from 27 jails. 27, that's 13,591 prisoners in total.
13,000.
Yeah, and even now, reports suggest over 8,800 fugitives are still at large. Many of them, serving sentences for really serious crimes, rape, drug trafficking, homicide.
That's not just a security breach. That's a massive ongoing public safety crisis. It completely undermines the state's ability to protect people.
It does, and compounding that, you have the issue of weapon looting.
I read about that.
Protesters overran police armories. They looted over 1,500 weapons, including military-grade things like SLRs and incest rifles, just from the Kathmandu Valley Police Office alone.
So these aren't just handguns?
No, high-powered weapons. This immediately changes the nature of the instability. It goes from political unrest to a potentially serious armed public safety crisis. When those kinds of weapons get into civilian hands during a period like this, well, the concerns just skyrocket.
And the police force itself is basically crippled.
In many areas, yes. Over 218 police facilities in the Kathmandu Valley alone were vandalized or burned. Uniforms destroyed, vehicles burned out. The functional damage goes right to the top, doesn't it?
It seems so. What about government buildings?
Well, preliminary studies, structural assessments, they show key buildings like the Supreme Court, the Kathmandu District Court. They're now structurally unsound, severe fire damage.
Unsound. So unusable.
Potentially, yes. I mean, the basement of the Kathmandu District Court apparently burned for 72 hours straight. Think about that. The literal foundations of the judicial system are now structurally questionable.
Just incredible damage. Is there any positive news amidst this? Any signs of recovery starting?
There are, thankfully, some glimmers. You see resilience. The Nepal Engineers Association, for example, they've stepped up. They're offering free technical help for reconstruction, for damage assessment.
That's fantastic. Community effort.
It is. And Minister Gising, the infrastructure guy, remember?
Yeah.
He's already pushing hard. An immediate directive to manage the hundreds of burnt vehicles cluttering up Singha Durbar, the main government complex. And he's pushing to get the new parliament building finished by December.
So literally picking up the pieces while treating to rebuild trust. Which brings us to the economic toll. This must be huge. And for Nepalese abroad, this context really matters, right? It affects confidence, family back home.
Oh, the economic impact was immediate and just brutal. The Hotel Association Nepal, AJN, they reported preliminary losses over 25 billion rupees.
25 billion.
Yeah. And this isn't just abstract numbers. It meant over 2,000 workers lost their jobs right during what should have been the peak festive tourism season.
Devastating for those families.
Absolutely. And for our listeners abroad, this plunge in confidence was mirrored in the financial markets. When the Nepal Stock Exchange, NEPSE, finally reopened, it just plummeted, down 6%.
Wow.
It triggered 3 successive circuit breakers, halted all trading for the entire day.
That kind of immediate shock, it translates directly into worries for people abroad, doesn't it? Worries about savings, family businesses, maybe investments they were considering back home.
Exactly. That confidence is fragile. Meanwhile, just daily life is facing major hits right as the big Dashain festival approaches.
What kind of things?
Well, physically, logistics are a nightmare. Road blockages are constant. Heavy rain triggers landslides, disrupting major routes like the Kalagandaki corridor, the Narayangad-Muglan road. People trapped overnight in buses.
Right before the festival when everyone travels.
Precisely. And for those doing their festival shopping, inflation is hitting hard. Reports of heavily inflated prices for essentials. The Kathmandu Metropolitan City says it's stepping up market monitoring next week, but the damage is being felt now.
And health concerns, too.
Yes, unfortunately. Gandaki province is battling dual outbreaks. Dengue fever, over 960 cases reported, and also this really nasty eye infection called shapu, which can actually threaten vision.
Just one thing after another. Okay, let's pivot now to something hitting the Nepalese diaspora very directly. This situation involving Portugal, it sounds like it's causing massive anxiety for potentially thousands planning travel.
Yes, this is absolutely critical and causing widespread fear. What's happening is immigration authorities in Lisbon have apparently started canceling temporary and permanent residence permits for some Nepalese migrants.
On what grounds?
They're accusing them of having entered Portugal irregularly, but the real kicker here is the complexity around how these permits were often obtained in the first place. There's a history to the law.
Okay, tell us about that. How did people get these permits initially?
So Portugal used to have these provisions. Basically, they allowed undocumented workers to get permits if they could prove they were registered with the tax authority and had paid taxes for at least a year. It was a way to regularize.
Kind of a loophole almost.
Sort of, yes, a pathway that existed. But that specific provision allowing regularization this way has now been scrapped. The issue is the Portuguese authorities seem to be retroactively applying the new standard. They're canceling permits that were obtained perfectly legally under the old rules.
Wait, so even people who followed the rules back then got what they believed were fully valid legal permits, paid taxes for years, they're now having them revoked.
That appears to be exactly what's happening in some cases. The sudden crackdown, this retroactive application, it's caused panic, especially among the thousands of Nepalese who plan to fly home for Dashain.
Because they don't know if they'll be allowed back into Portugal.
Exactly. Or even if they might be barred from leaving Portugal in the first place. The uncertainty is immense. It really demands immediate diplomatic attention, some clarity.
A really worrying situation for many families.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting back to Nepal itself. The recovery efforts were apparently made even harder by a surge of fake news during the crisis.
Yeah, a full-blown infodemic, as some called it. It just fueled public panic. You had widespread misinformation flying around, rumors of a military takeover, the monarchy being restored, all sorts.
Why did it spread so easily?
Well, experts point to a combination of things. People were desperate for updates, any information. Emotions were incredibly high, fear, anger, uncertainty. That creates fertile ground for false reports to take root.
And it wasn't just affecting people who aren't usually online.
No, that's what was really alarming. Reports indicate that even what you'd call information literate circles, doctors, civil servants, professionals were sharing unverified claims. It just highlights how intense emotions can really weaken critical thinking, even for savvy people. Media literacy becomes crucial.
So after all that chaos, that uncertainty, that infodemic, what's the official line? What's the committed path forward now?
Well, Prime Minister Karki used her Constitution Day address to try and frame things. She described the massive youth movement not as some attack on democracy, but more as a, quote, measure of the health of our democratic system.
Interesting framing.
It is. She promised her government would prioritize good governance. And crucially, she reiterated the core mission. Hold elections for the House of Representatives within 6 months. That's the deadline they're working towards.
And international support. Is it there?
It seems to be confirmed. We saw key meetings happen. Indian PM Modi spoke with PM Karki. U.S. Ambassador Thompson met with her. Both reaffirmed steadfast support for Nepal's peace, stability, this whole transition process.
Okay, so the resilience is undeniable, isn't it? You see engineers offering free health, customs getting back online, this political commitment, however fragile, to elections.
Absolutely. Resilience is there.
But the scale of the immediate challenges, I mean, thousands of armed fugitives loose, the economic shock, the damaged institutions, it's just immense.
It is immense. And, as you navigate the news from abroad, try to make sense of the recovery efforts. We really have to urge critical thinking, especially about information you see circulating online. After that infodemic, that vigilance, it's maybe the most important form of citizenship right now, making sure decisions are based on facts, not panic.
Sound advice. And just before we wrap up, a quick note for our listeners who are based in the UK. Remember belayat.uk. It's a great community-focused resource, classifieds, job listings, housing info, finding and supporting Nepalese businesses right where you are in the UK.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And for everyone who wants the full, detailed account of everything we've touched on today, the deeper dive into the Portugal crisis, the economic figures, all of it, head over to nepalidiaspora.net. You'll find the latest digest and lots of other resources for the diaspora there.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to maybe chew on, thinking about everything we've discussed. We know there's this deep resentment towards past political corruption revealed so starkly by the Gen Z movement. So the question is, will this new cabinet's really drastic austerity measures, combined with their clear focus on technocratic competence, will that be enough? Enough to fully restore public trust and stabilize the nation before that incredibly tight March 2026 election deadline? Or is the political friction just going to keep undermining their efforts? Something to think about.